soldier kneeling thing. It was only $22, so I was like, man, what the heck?
I got my Sacred Mountain Retreat coin.
Oh, very cool. I don't have one of those. Oh, thanks. I meant to bring him in. Pull your coffee cup back closer to your... there you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Saturday morning. That means those two great guys full of information you don't want to miss. A veteran show for all veterans. Welcome Major Andrew White, retired, and Marine helicopter pilot Chuck Wright.
Hoorah! And welcome to another edition of Kilroy's Conversation. Man, do we have a great show for you. It is going to be outstanding today. A lot of great... Actually, you know, I've just noticed something. You're not wearing one of your traditional T-shirts today. I know you're wearing your Longhorn shirt, but I just noticed
Which traditional T-shirt?
Not only you got one of your, sponsor groups, or I'm sure you got a Marine Corps shirt underneath.
No. Carry the load,
Carry the
baby.
load.
Carry the load.
I knew you had it there, but anyway, it's probably a little too cold to go without it because, as much of America knows, the deep freeze is on. Somebody forgot to pay the electric bill.
No kidding. Let's talk to that guy.
It's 11 degrees right now?
I was just
with
pulling that up.
I don't know what the ambient is, but...
So here, welcome to all of our listeners, nationally, internationally, and across... I don't know if we can go into outer space. We
got Space Force now. They're broadcasting.
Yes, yeah. Aren't they broadcasting? They should be broadcasting us.
I'm sure we're good.
Yeah, we're at 16 degrees. Whew. Now, realize in some parts of the country, this is heat wave. Yeah. But down here for us Texans, it's bad.
Yeah, we're not used to this weather down here at all. Not at all. No.
So it's a fun weekend. We are going to celebrate Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
We are going to celebrate President's Day.
Yes, we are.
But speaking of presidents,
we got some.
We have a little bit of a problem. It seems every week we're going to have to go backwards a little bit.
Yeah, we have to do it backwards.
So come on, tell us what did we miss last week?
Last week we missed, and we're going to share the blame. I want to take responsibility, but it's a share because...
No, it's shared. I didn't. I missed it.
Yeah, we missed it. We got to make sure we recognize the Gipper, and we forgot to acknowledge last week it was Ronald Reagan's birthday. He would have been, 107?
I think that's right.
Yeah, 107 or 108. I knew it was in that neighborhood. But either way, happy birthday, Gipper, wherever you are. You are definitely in our thoughts.
We try to keep the politics out of it, but he was, in fact, my president. And in honor of the Marine Corps, I'm going to give you a quote that he toasted the Marines with on his first official Marine Corps birthday.
All right.
Some people go through life wondering if they've ever made a difference. The Marines don't have that problem.
And I think he also did adapt that same speech later on for other services as well.
More than likely.
Yeah, and a great speech, and of course, the great communicator, as he was known. Let me tell you.
They broke the mold with that one.
Yeah. Around this part, I mean, again, all politics aside, Reagan, He cracks easily the top 5 in my book.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a lot of debate, in my opinion, on that one.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And there he is, the Gipper.
There he is. Yeah. In the 80s, he whipped stagflation.
Yep.
He very much saved the soul of America. So great president, but we're going a little too far down that path.
We won't, but
we don't want to get too political here. I actually had an interesting debate with those that buy into the fake narrative.
Yep.
It was actually funny watching them scurry from the facts. Yep. But it's President's Day.
So speaking of presidents, we got to go way back. Well, yeah, I guess for American history, way back. World history, 200 years is not. Let's start off with two other guys who
244 years, but
exactly.
Who's counting?
Two guys that definitely cracked the top 5 as well.
Oh, no kidding.
And there is really no debate that these two are amongst the greatest to ever serve in that capacity.
Now, this picture, and we were joking about this before we went on the air, says so much. America. Don't mess with America. We will row across rivers in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve to kill you in your sleep.
And
We've done it.
And there it is.
The famous portrait going across the Delaware River.
Yep, over to Trenton, New Jersey. And let me tell you, George Washington, what an amazing individual. The accolades of what he did, really setting the foundation. Have you ever been to Mount Vernon?
I have not. It's funny you say that because my brother, as you know, my brother's up at Quantico, and we had made the remark the last time we were there. We went to Monticello to learn more about Thomas Jefferson, and it is a fascinating place. I recommend it highly. But we had said on the way back, okay, next is Mount Vernon.
2 years ago when we took a family trip up to the D.C. area, I went there in 8th grade, as all 8th graders up there do for your trip. And I remember going to Mount Vernon as an 8th grader, didn't really care. But going years later,
right.
Let me tell you, unbelievable place. Yeah. It is world class. And to see the house, let me tell you, one of the finest places. You got to go. And I will tell you right now, Martha and George, they sure knew how to pick real estate. Because let me tell you, how it overlooks the Chesapeake River, unbelievable. But here's a little fact people don't know. Reagan had no
Potomac River in Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah, Chesapeake Bay, Potomac. Thank you.
You would think the Yankee on the show would know that. But
I got down here in Texas as quickly as I could, all right? Washington had no biological children.
This is true.
Yep. But did you know who his granddaughter married?
Okay.
And this is
a trick question. If he had no biological children, how did he have grandchildren?
Martha's son.
So it was his step-grandchild.
Yeah. But they still refer to, like Martha's kids, always refer to George as their father. Yep.
In our house, the only steps lead upstairs.
And same with here.
Yep.
So do you know who his granddaughter, and there's a portrait of her later on, Robert E. Lee. So when the Lee House over in Arlington.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm going to stop you again. You are really I get that I'm a crayon-eating Marine, but you said his granddaughter is Robert E. Lee.
No.
That can't be right.
Married.
You left that part out.
No, I didn't. You got to clear, being a helicopter pilot, you got to clear out your ears.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think there may be a little noise still going on.
Yeah, a little noise. Yeah, that rattling.
He said married. I want to be on your side because you're wearing the same shirt as I am.
Yeah.
Go horns. Hook 'em horns. But.
Yeah, hook 'em horns, baby. Hook 'em horns. Yeah, we're going to run off all the Aggies that are listening to the show.
Married. Yeah, so, yeah.
There we go.
Interesting little fact. But,
and I've always loved this picture of George Washington.
Classic.
He was an amazing man, and it's kind of a negative from my political leanings, but we've just watched the nastiest inauguration. I say nastiest, the pettiest inauguration. George Washington had the opportunity to be king.
And he turned it down.
And he said no. The vision, and as I've grown older, I have learned to truly appreciate the incredible vision of the Founding Fathers. Mm-hmm. And I know that, there are moves to destroy the Electoral College because, oh my God, the popular vote doesn't elect the president at times. And it's like, you know what that's called? That's called tyranny of the majority. And they understood that, and they set up a system that we are United States. And we continue to move further and further away from the rights and the powers of the states. But that's not what made us unique. It was we had these industrial, you just talk about the original 13 colonies. Mm-hmm. The North was dominated by industry and trading. Right. The South was dominated by agriculture. And the middle states were kind of in the middle and did a little bit of both. But you had a system that made all of them work. So great honors. The other great testimony to George Washington was his leadership in keeping the armies together. It was said that he never won a major battle until Yorktown.
Yeah, that is true.
But think about it. He was outnumbered 3 to 6 to 1 in every battle. He didn't fight the way the British fought, the way they did, and it's very interesting. Yep. And a lot of that, I didn't know this. We're going to get into a little gun lore here. It's one of the reasons was because of the techniques they had to use to fire old-style muskets.
Exactly.
Whereas the Americans were using rifles with and they were called rifles, not muskets.
And we talked about that last show because of the ball. Remember the golf ball reference?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So a lot of it gets into modern technology, but he just didn't have enough troops.
Yep. And here's the thing, and we'll talk about this with both Washington and Lincoln, because that's our next one that we'll talk about. Not only were they great men, but I'd say this has a lot to do with the character forming America, is they weren't just great military leaders, great politicians. They were really the embodiment of what I would call a Renaissance man. Do you know that?
Yes.
He was an engineer, a landscaper, everything. And we'll talk about inventions. Washington, and you'll see this when you go someday to Mount Vernon, he had a patent on a very specialized for the day rocking chair. The original one does not exist anymore. They're not sure what happened to it, but he had a rocking chair that he would cool himself with. He'd sit down, and as he took steps on it, it had a fan over him, and it would cool him off in the summertime. He invented it.
Oh, wow. How cool.
Really cool, and he had a patent on that. But we'll talk a little bit later about, we'll see if you know what some of the patents that our next president had. JP, if you will be so kind to bring it up.
And JP, our guests are in the waiting room, supposedly.
They just got in there then. Hold on.
Okay. So, hey, let's move on. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about Honest Abe for just a second as we talk about President's Day.
And uniting, while Washington united the military, I would say Lincoln united the country. Especially during...
And what's really sad is that in John Wilkes Booth's demented vision, he hated Lincoln for what happened. But because of his assassination of Lincoln, Lincoln was very much trying to heal the country, and that was his vision. Whereas those who came after them decided to punish the South, and we had a reconstruction that literally... to this day still sets the South back. And I wonder, I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. I wonder how different race relations would be if the Union hadn't been so heavy-handed dealing with the South. I have always wondered about that because what happens, and we saw this, and I'm going to pull this into, so stick with the thought. One of the things that Hitler did to rise to power was to point a finger at a group, in that case the Jews, and blame them for all the problems. And it gave everybody someone to hate.
It gave them fuel to the fire.
Yeah. And so something similar like that happened after the Civil War. So John Wilkes Booth, actually in his, again, demented vision, made things much worse than they needed to be.
No question about it. Historically, he really hurt the South way more than he ever helped them.
Yeah.
And that is factual information. But here's the thing. An Army captain in the Illinois National Guard.
Well, it was the militia back then. But the same as the National Guard today.
Do you know what patent and event or item that Lincoln invented? Another Renaissance man. Something you've probably enjoyed many times. JP, do you know?
Shoe leather?
Nope. The pontoon boat.
The pontoon boat.
The pontoon boat.
I would have never guessed that.
And you're going to like this. As a Marine, you will like why and how he invented it and came up with it. He was the only...
To amphibiously assault the river on the other side of the shore?
Yes, but for
for
different reasons, if you want to think about it. He was the first president, and I think maybe only, I'm not sure, not only was he a lawyer, but he also had a beer and wine and liquor license, and he had to get his product across the river.
No
and that's
kidding.
why he amphibiouusly assaulted the other side to bring his product. That's why the flat, top, he'd carry the barrels of whiskey and wine and beer. So kind of a cool little fact about.
Kind of cool little factoid.
Yep.
And do we have our guests in there?
No, I was going to ask you, I can resend them the link.
Would you resend them the link, please? And while we do that,
we're going to talk about our last knowledge bomb.
Our last knowledge bomb, as we're dropping knowledge bombs.
This is a good one.
This is a great one.
Yeah. We're waiting. JP's going to get it up. It was yesterday, I believe. Correct?
You're the one with the dates.
I'm pretty sure it was this week. We know that for sure.
This week.
I'll have to double check the dates. But is over here. 150 of our bravest, to me, some of the most strongest patriots our nation has, surviving POWs from the infamous Hanoi Hilton.
This was the day they were flown home.
And, a great friend of ours who unfortunately is no longer with us, the late, great Sam Johnson, Honorable Congressman Sam Johnson, which I know you'll talk a little bit about that in a moment.
Yeah, we got a real good-looking picture coming up.
Yeah,
you do.
Here in just a second.
Chuck, can you text me his email address so I can send it to him?
Oh.
Chuck said that I'll talk a little bit as you're doing that.
Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, text
this
me that
story, every time I hear it, it's just amazing. I mean, some of these men, the names you've heard of, Admiral Stockdale, John McCain, Sam Johnson, and many, many, many others who survived literally daily tortures that, left them throughout their life badly crippled and injured, yet they never once gave in to their oppressors and what they're doing to them. So much so, and I've heard the story many times when I've gone to different events where speeches from members that were, as they would refer to it, guests of Hanoi Hilton. They would say, and I believe it was Stockdale that came up with the plan because I think he was the senior ranking individual at the time. When they were going to the airport to be finally released and repatriated, they made a pact amongst all themselves that none of them would show any type of emotion, any type of gratitude, fear, nothing. They would look every one of their captors in the eyes as they walked through the procession line and onto the Freedom plane to get home. And they did not give into their excitement until after the plane door was closed and the engines were turned on. And then they all broke down. I mean, when I hear that story, I'm like, that is, to me, the greatest weapon that they could use against their captors to never let them know, not even for 1 minute, that they got the better of them. And when you think about these individuals, names that we've all heard many, many times, and look at what they did in their lives, unbelievable.
Some incredible individuals.
I mean, there were at least 2 Medal of Honor recipients or more from that. I know Stockdale and Bud Day were both Medal of Honor. Bud Day was the only one to successfully escape twice. Unfortunately, successfully captured twice. But there's a great story that I read in Chicken Noodle Soup for the Veteran Soul, which if you've not read it, I actually get to talk about a book that Chuck may not have in his library.
I actually do not have that book in my library.
I've got one that the library
we have added that
Chuck
book.
Does not have. There's a great story, and we'll let you go into there before we go, is they talked about there was a soldier who was beaten daily because he had an American flag sewn into his uniform or his POW pajamas, if you will, and daily the North Vietnamese would beat him. And one day they beat him so bad that they broke all the fingers in his hands, and then threw him back in the cell. And what did he do that very night? He grabbed a thread and needle and started re-sewing another American flag into his. When I hear stories like that, I'm just like, that's right. That's the American spirit. But a guy who knows it all too well, I'm going to turn it over to my great friend over here to talk about one of those great men.
And I get to talk about Sam Johnson, who was our congressman here, and Frisco is blessed in that we have really two congressmen, one on the Denton side, one on the Collins side. The city's pretty much split down the middle, but it gives us two of everything pretty much. And I regularly got to visit with Sam Johnson. His office would actually call me to come in and brief him, which was interesting because he actually knew more about the issues than I did. Now, he was an incredibly impressive man, but this picture, to have a POW as your congressman, a man who was steadfast with his values and with his beliefs, despite everything that went on, speaks to me of the truth of what he believed in. That there was no wavering to it. He had seen it at the worst. And it is easy to look at people when things are going their best, but the true judge of someone is how they handle adversity, and he was a walking inspiration. There was no planning to this whatsoever, but this picture was taken. I was the last constituent visit he had. His last day. Oh, cool. And we're about to jump into
Our guest.
our guest. We're gonna. I don't know if Joanne's going to jump on or not. Another good friend with her sister Deanna of Sam Johnson, as were Kathy, as was JP. Anybody who'd met Sam,
You were his friend.
you were his friend.
Yep.
An incredible memory, an incredibly nice man. I
was one of the last ones to receive his congressional veteran
commendation. Very
yes.
nice.
Yep.
Very nice. I've had several friends that have received that.
Yep. And speaking of great friends, we're gonna joining us right now live from.
Okay, yeah. Could we stop that before we make everybody seasick?
Jerred, can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. Good morning. How are you?
Good, Jerred. How are you, buddy?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Well, we got broadcasting live from to me, one of the prettiest parts of the country, and I know it's up for debate, but I'll be honest with you, if you spend any time out in western South Dakota, it is awesome. Absolutely awesome. And one of the finest places in South Dakota is where our next guest is calling in from, the Sacred Mountain Retreat, where I've had the pleasure of being up there with Jerred a couple years ago. So, Jerred, welcome over to the show. How are you, buddy?
Yeah. Good. I'm good. Thanks.
Yep.
It's a brisk morning here in Deadwood. It's
Yep.
25 below. So we're
Holy smoke.
That's balmy.
This one.
That's balmy for this time of year, isn't it?
Frisco is at 16. It's a heat wave compared to you guys.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Jerred, for our listeners who are tuning into the show and watching it, do me a favor. Tell us a little bit about your retreat and the facility. I know I've been out there. We've hung out a couple times when I go out to South Dakota. It's awesome. And by the way, I have your coin still that you gave me with me right now on the show. Don't know if you can see it or not. But
Good.
it's good. So tell us a little bit about the retreat.
Sure. So 2018, we formed Sacred Mountain Retreat Center, and it is a facility for veterans, first responders, law enforcement, correctional officers, anyone of service. And it's a 7-day program. So we have equine therapy. We do blacksmithing and leather work. We do massage therapy, cryotherapy. We have a couple of chiropractors that have came in and helped us with the program. We do yoga, different things like that. So yeah, it's 7 days. It's all paid. That's one of the reasons we do this big fundraiser that we're getting to do here tonight at the lodge. We don't want it to be any financial burden to the service members that are maybe needing to come and go through the program. Whether it's PTSD, TBIs, maybe drug or alcohol abuse, needing those tools to kind of help reprogram themselves. And we're finding that the tools here in the Black Hills just the heels themselves are healing, but the program that we've developed is doing very, very well.
Yeah.
Up a picture of the facility so that our guests can see how fabulous it is. I was looking at this last night, but I wanted to ask you, talk a little bit about what was your inspiration to create this? How did Sacred Mountain come about?
Saving lives. The suicide rate today in our service members, and I use service members kind of as a broad spectrum. I look at service members. It doesn't matter if they're foreign or domestic, if they're a police officer here in the States, firefighter, military, as a great friend of mine who's standing right next to me, Medal of Honor recipient Don Jenkins. The suicide rate is so high in our service members today. I felt that there is a better way to help these members and try to help them with their suicide. So I guess the vision was about 6 years ago. I met some very, very fine people that were deeply involved with different organizations from Texas to Ohio to Wyoming. And the more I started getting involved and the more that I started meeting and getting to spend time with these service members, the more passionate I became. And I felt like there was something that was needed that was different than going to the VA or going and talking to a clinician, a doctor, something like that. When these guys come in, men and women come into Sacred Mountain, it's a mentor base. So it's not a doctor that's sitting in a room that's trying to tell them how to fix themselves. It's not a counselor who's read and studied all the books on how to get people to try to fix themselves. It's other like-minded men and women, service members, that are helping each other with some similarities.
Jerred, I love how you say that, and one of my favorite things that I've always preached on this is I love the mentor aspect of it and work with one another, because you're right. I mean, no disrespect to any medical professional who does their job, but I can speak as a veteran. Having another veteran who maybe didn't walk the exact mile I did, but walked a parallel mile to me makes so much sense. You can relate to them better, and I think the therapeutic aspect of that is huge, because whether you realize or not, you're helping, whether being a mentor, it's helping yourself as well, and also helping that individual. And I love what you guys are doing up there. I think that is world-class type of leadership, world-class type of treatment. It's spot on. I love your vision and your mission up there.
Thank you. Yeah, we do too.
Now, let me ask you, Jerred, how do you vet, I guess is the right word, how do people come into your system? How often do you run classes? Talk about the logistics, if you will, of the operation.
Sure. First question, how many? Right now we have 12 scheduled retreats for 2021. Our goal is to be year-round within the next year or two. We have some more facilities that we need to build. We're raising money for the Equine Center, just a little more housing expansion that needs to be done. But the way that right now it's been a referral base, to be honest with you, it's been other members, other attendees that have came to the program that have referred a friend or a service member or a brother or a cousin, somebody that they know that is struggling, that could use, 7 days to kind of get reprogrammed and I don't know. I'm being able to meet and understand there's other people that are going through some of the same type of things. So we have an application process. It's a very simple application. It's on our website, and within the next couple of days, we will have our whole 2021 schedule on there. Everything will be PDF. They'll be able to click on our website, download the application, fill it out, send it back. So application, DD214 application, a bio, and then we have a third party that is now kind of reviewing the applications and whatnot. They're going through and kind of making sure everything is legit. Once they vet them, then they send it back to me, and they let me know kind of where we're at, and then that's basically kind of how the process goes. But something that one of my an attendee that came to the program here a year ago, she said, one of the things that I think is really powerful with me is you don't have to be a combat veteran to come through our program. Service member means anyone who has served.
100%. I love how you view that, because no service member that I know of gets to make the decision whether or not we get to go to combat or not. That's made by powers well above us. And, that is great, because there are some great mentors of mine that, for no reason other than they just didn't serve during a combat period in time, doesn't make them any less, leader worthy. It's just
leader worthy. Is that we're coining new words on the show?
We're coining new words. What's got to be said 5 times and then it can go to Webster's?
There we go. Yeah, that's good. We'll use that for the next 5 weeks.
For the next 5
leader
weeks.
worthy.
Leader worthy.
Yeah.
But anyway,
no hyphen.
No hyphen. Hey, Jerred, got a question. One of our listeners just asked there. They said, if somebody would like to sign up to be a mentor, is there an application process for that?
There is not an application. You have to come through the program before you can come back as a mentor.
Gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate that. That was the question we had a listener just ask about that.
Yep. And I think that's, at first I had a couple that were, they didn't quite understand it until they came through. They're like, well, I don't have any problems. I'll come and just be a mentor. I'm like, no, you don't understand. You have to come through the program to understand the program before you can come back as a mentor.
No, great.
And you know what? Everybody that's done it, they really, really like that aspect of the program.
Jerred, I'm going to ask you, we want to spend a few minutes with Medal of Honor recipient Don Jenkins. But what I'm going to do before you jump off, I'd like you to jump back on at the end. We'll kind of set everybody up so they're ready to make notes. I want you to talk about the event you've got going on tonight, how people can do fundraising to your site, get more information, and kind of give you an opportunity to wrap everything up. And
sure, you bet. Yeah.
And by the way, you mentioned Ohio. So you've got to talk to Joanne, and she will tell you the story about how I am connected to something she was working on in Ohio way back. But we'll do that off camera. Joanne can tell that story off camera.
Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah, I'll hand the phone off to Congressional Medal of Honor Don Jenkins.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Don. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. We got to get Joanne over there to help you line that up. We can see your eyes and your hat, and that's about it.
There we go.
There we go. All right.
TV. I thought it was on radio.
Well, I'm not quite sure what we're called. It's radio, it's video, it's out over the internet, but it's not on the air. I don't.
Podcast.
It's podcast. Are we podcasting? Oh, okay. Well, then we're just podcasters.
How are you doing today, sir?
Sir?
How are you doing today?
I'm doing good today. Good, cool morning up here. Don't have to worry about the flies or gnats here, So it's good.
Yeah, 20 below, I would imagine there's not a lot of insects out. So,
Right.
Don, tell us a little bit. What is your connection to Sacred Mountain?
I'll come up here and volunteer to help Jerred out, these guys out. Come up, once or twice a year and meet, and it's a good place, nice atmosphere, and help the veterans out. Of course, just like everything else, some needs a little help, some needs a lot of help.
Very well put. The degree of level of veterans, and the issues that some of us receive, varies from experience to experience, and the ability to compartmentalize the different trauma varies from you could have two service members that were in the exact same experience, each of which experienced it differently, and the effects could be different from them throughout.
Yes.
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly a question.
No. I'm just making a statement,
So Joanne set you up. She said that I had to ask why you decided to join the military.
I didn't have no choice. My friends and neighbors had selected me to serve, I don't have no damn friends and neighbors.
So what were you doing when you joined the service?
My junior and senior year, I was working third shift in the coal mines, and I was working in the coal mines whenever I got that little pink piece of paper that says my friends and neighbors. And so never been out of the county or let alone Kentucky. So it was quite an experience.
So you were not too far away from your good friend Woody Williams.
Yeah, me and Woody's big buddies. Whenever he can't make an event, Brent and his other Chad will call me to see if I can come and fill in for Woody.
We just threw up a picture. You may not be able to see it, but I found a picture of you and Woody together.
The countdown to Thunder 2011.
Yeah, and should be some in there 2020, me and Woody together.
Woody is a great guy. I was literally texting Chad this morning, or Chad was texting me.
Yes.
So we're working on one of the Gold Star Family Monument projects in North Texas. So I am honored to know Woody. Joanne has been singing your praises, but she said the story you tell is that you liked the way the uniforms looked and you joined to get girls. Is there any truth to that?
Well, if the man is walking and breathing, he likes, every man likes to look at pretty cars and pretty horses and pretty girls,
And a good-looking uniform in a good-looking car definitely usually gets you to meet a good-looking girl.
There we go.
There we go. Whatever it takes.
I love it. So let's just talk a little bit. You guys are up there. It is a little colder than we like it over here in Texas for sure. What do you guys got going on today as far as activities, preparing for tonight?
Tonight's a gala. It starts at 5. And between now and then, we're going to do a little sightseeing here in South Dakota and do the gala and then head back to Kentucky tomorrow.
Is the weather going to let you fly out tomorrow? I hope you guys are doing okay.
I hope it does. Of course, then we've got a big snowstorm coming into Kentucky tomorrow afternoon, so hoping I can get there before all this happens.
Well, I hope so. I hope so. I took a minute. I read your Medal of Honor citation. There was a relatively famous movie, and one would almost think one of the actions that that Don was credited to as part of his Medal of Honor was to not once, not twice, but to 3 times run into fire to carry wounded soldiers out. And I believe you saved all 3 of their lives, or credited with saving all 3 of their lives. But I have to ask, does Tom Hanks pay you royalties from Forrest Gump?
Well, it's like everything else. You're getting in a spot, you do things, and then when your buddies are laying out there hollering for you, then you have to kind of just jerk it up and go and do what you got to do.
And I say this, and I realize that I may seem to be making light of it, but I'm not. The one part of Forrest Gump that just really hits you hard is watching one soldier completely put his life on the line to go in and save his brothers in arms. There is absolutely no question. What you did was just incredible courage, personal courage. Absolutely amazing. As reading that, I kept flashing over that scene in my mind, going, "Wow." Does your wallet actually read BAMF? Whoop, we lost him. Sorry about that. There he is. Now he's back. Nope, there he goes. Hi, Joanne Arnold. Okay, we have disconnected them a little bit.
Well,
hey, there she is.
we see them.
No.
Can you
No,
guys hear
is that-
us?
Okay.
Joanne, can you hear us?
Sorry about this. They are in the foothills of the Badlands in South Dakota. It's one of the reasons we were showing some of the shots of the center and of the surrounding area is because it is incredibly gorgeous. Interesting enough, we had been talking about the Teddy Roosevelt forest in that area. It's
Well,
just
Teddy
incredible.
Roosevelt's in North Dakota.
Oh, that's right. You said that was, but it's right up against the border
right
of South
yes,
Dakota.
yes.
You said that was the only part of North Dakota that was worth seeing.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Whereas being in Deadwood, there he is.
We see y'all. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, we're struggling a little
with
bit
all
with
you
the
guys.
audio.
There
There
we
we
go.
go. We're back.
We're back. Oh,
We can't hear you.
right.
Oh.
all right.
So we're going to vamp for a little bit
Right.
as we work on the technical problems. We will get those fixed. Why don't we throw up, so we're not making everybody seasick. Let's throw up a picture of the Sacred Mountain Retreat. I got chewed out. So one of the things that I do, and we're going to talk about me for a second, we were going to talk about it, and we keep running out of time on the shows, but I am the vice chair of the Fund for Veteran Assistance for the state of Texas. And what that does is we take a portion of lottery money, and then we provide grants to both veteran service organizations and nonprofits that serve veterans. So not two kind of different things. Generally, both are nonprofits. But for example, a couple of our big ones are Salvation Army, that does a tremendous amount of work, the Goodwill. Catholic Charities of Fort Worth is one of my favorites. Easter Seals. So there are multiple groups that are not necessarily veteran service organizations, but organizations that serve veterans.
All right, we're back,
Oh,
guys.
there we
Right.
go.
Can you guys hear us okay?
Yep.
All right.
All
good.
right, terrific.
All righty. You know, modern technology, it's great, but sometimes there are hiccups.
Sometimes there are challenges, especially when you guys are kind of up north, almost to the Arctic Circle. Oh wait, you're not quite that far north. Okay.
So, all righty. So tell us a little bit about what's going to happen tonight at this gala. I'm kind of excited. What's the big plan for tonight?
So, like Don said, doors open at 5. It's a night full. We have silent auction items. We have a live auction. We have many, many amazing items up for auction. We've got 2 Medal of Honor recipients that are going to be guests of honor in the crowd with us tonight.
You got Don and who
we
else?
have- Excuse me?
You've got Don and what other Medal of Honor recipient will be joining you all tonight?
Michael Fintz-Maurice,
All right.
Medal of Honor recipient that's right here in the state of South Dakota.
Excellent.
We have Captain Plum. He's a POW. He's our closer speaker. We have a correctional officer from Folsom Prison that's came to the program that's going to share just a little 5-minute he's just got a little presentation that he's going to do. We have James Tipton, who is a paraplegic, does a lot with Stay Up and Play Foundation.
Yes.
Right.
I knew
the
the
program.
name.
He's going to share his story. We have Sarah Faulkner, first female rescue swimmer to complete the Coast Guard swim mission. She came through the program. She's going to share her story. And then we have a police officer, Jeff McGill, that is going to talk about the suicide and kind of the foundation on how his foundation, Blue Health, is kind of tying in and going to start doing things with us up here at Sacred Mountain.
So after this is over, there's some people that I want to connect you with from Texas. One of them is my good friend Mike Rumfeld, who runs the Thin Blue Line. No, excuse me. He runs. It's the Thin Blue Line Ball is their gala. It's America's Defenders Foundation.
Sure.
Yep.
Great.
So obviously law enforcement on that side, although he is also an Army veteran. There's a lot of that. Gesundheit, by the way. There's a lot of inter-service back and forth when we do the show. So do you have the ability with your silent auction for somebody to bid remotely over the internet?
We don't over the internet, but I was going to throw that stuff out here too. So if they don't follow us on Facebook, all your listeners out there, please go find us on Facebook, follow us, share our mission, our story. We are going to do the live auction live on Facebook tonight. We'll have 3 or 4 people that are going to be watching it, taking bids online.
Very cool.
We have our website, which is sacredmtnretreat.com. We have Instagram, and like I said, Facebook. A lot of our social media gets pushed very heavily on all of those social media sites. So, tonight is just, I think tonight's going to be really good. We've got 400 people. We've sold 400 tickets.
Wow.
Place is going to be full.
I didn't know there were 400 people in South Dakota. Oh, I guess that was kind of rude, wasn't it?
Well, let me tell you, that facility, Jerred, I don't know if you have an opportunity with the camera right now. I said, I've seen the inside, been there with you. Could you show a little bit about, your facility and what it looks like because hearing about it doesn't do it justice. When I was there, it was, let me tell you, Chuck.
And I apologize. I couldn't find any shots of the inside.
It is amazing. The job he has done with this place is world class. They have an amazing kitchen that they, cook all their meals, prepare for. Now there, it is a beautiful place to go. It's just unbelievable.
So it's 10,000 square feet. We set on 65 acres, obviously right in the middle of the Black Hills. There's a commercial kitchen where all the cooking is done. There's a dining area that seats up to 40 people. We have a great room that's full of couches, a big wooden fireplace. That's where a lot of the evenings sit around and share stories happens around that fireplace. There's 8 bedrooms in the facility. Every bedroom has its own bathroom. 2 of the bedrooms are handicap accessible, so they're roll-in showers, a nice full-size bed in them. 2 of the rooms have queen-size beds, and 4 of the room have bunk beds. So when we do put a program on, the attendees, we split them into Team A and Team B, and we'll put 2 people per bunk bed room, and then the mentors have their own room. And then if we have someone that's handicapped or in a wheelchair, of course, they have their own room. But we're like I say, we just this fall we got our blacksmithing building put up. We got the concrete poured, got it all set and ready. In the spring, we're going to start the dirt work to start building the equine center. That's going to be 75 by 150. It'll have an indoor arena for the therapy, the equine therapy to happen. We'll have indoor stalling for the horses. We're going to have a tack room and a leather shop that we can do all of the leather work in. So I'm really looking forward to getting more money raised getting the equine center, because that'll kind of tie everything in, and that's when we're going to be able to start going 12 months out of the year. I'm going to say 10 months, but it's kind of hard in December and January to put a retreat on with holidays and everything like that going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Are you able to pan the camera to show some of those facilities at all?
To be honest with you, we're in town. I came into
gotcha.
the lodge to meet up with Don and get ready.
Are you at the VFW Lodge in Deadwood?
Excuse me?
That the VFW Lodge?
No, we're at the lodge where the event is being held tonight.
Gotcha.
And I'll have Joanna, when we get done, she can send some pictures if you guys want to post on your website.
That would be great.
That'd be terrific.
Also, one other I wanted to mention when we were talking, we're very honored. The Lieutenant Governor of South Dakota will be joining us this evening as well. So
very cool.
Yeah, we're super excited, and I can't thank you guys enough for allowing Don and myself to come on, share our story, and help get the word out, get our mission out. Like I said, we're saving lives, we're changing lives, and we're saving marriages. With people's generosity and donations, that's how we.
And if I can, and we've got just a couple of minutes, I wanted to ask you, because you just mentioned saving marriages. And so when Rummy and I first started talking about the mission of America's Defenders Foundation, one of the things they talked about was helping with the suicide. Is obviously very bad, about as bad as it gets. But one of the missions that they had wanted to do was to help provide a better foundation for marriages for the officers. Tell me a little bit, or talk a little bit about what your approach is to helping with marriage. As you mentioned, what's your strategy to help save marriages?
Well, I think, saving marriages is close to saving lives.
Yes.
Very much.
These men and women that struggle with PTSD, I don't know that the spouses quite can understand everything. They don't understand the nightmares. They don't understand the anger, the aggression that comes from the men and women. So, I think, when you come through the program and the tools that we, try to give, and the family that's built, there's always that person that can talk. If someone is struggling with themselves, it's more than likely struggling in their marriage and their household and their family. Mm-hmm. However, so I don't think that it's just one thing that goes into saving marriages. It's, a number of things.
Absolutely.
100% agree with you on that.
Okay, if you can put Don back on, we've got about 5 minutes left, but I do have one more question for Don. Don, I wanted to ask you a question. Joanne tells me you have quite the gun collection. Do you have a favorite? I'm not sure, Don.
Do I have a favorite gun?
In your collection.
Like I do the girls.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love that. You gotta love that. Now, the other question I had for you is, do you ever bring the guns up to South Dakota and do any hunting? And what do you hunt? He's probably going to tell me girls.
I love to hunt wild hogs.
Ah,
good.
Have you come to Texas and helped us with our wild hog problem?
Yes.
Outstanding. Outstanding.
That's my favorite thing right there. I could do that every day.
Well, come on down.
Yeah, we got.
I know lots of. We got plenty of them, and we got lots of good hog hunts down here. For those who don't know, wild hogs tend to tear things up badly, and they have no natural predators in Texas,
except for Texans.
Except for Texans, except for the hunters. But that's important, because the problem, anytime you get a ecosystem out of balance, you're going to get too much growth.
Well, Don, we want to thank you and Jerred and definitely Joanne for taking the time to come out here and join us today. It's been a pleasure having you guys on the show. We are definitely hoping for a very, very successful gala tonight. Hope you guys definitely achieve your goal and then some for a Sacred Mountain Retreat. I can speak from firsthand experience of being up there and spending some time with Jerred on more than one occasion up there, that it is a world-class facility with world-class type of opportunities for first responders and veterans and their families alike to receive help, guidance, or at least a starting point to resolve whatever issues may be facing them. And with your help and the help of others, their mission will definitely get achieved. There's no question about it. It is awesome, the mission and the job you guys are doing. And we thank you all tremendously for everything you guys are doing right now.
Well, we thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for having us on.
Now, our pleasure, and good luck tonight, and let us know how we can continue to help you guys out.
And John, you are the first Medal of Honor recipient to be an attendee to the Kilroy's Conversation Show. So, hey, there you've got another first.
Yep. All righty. Well, appreciate it. Good luck tonight, guys. Joanne, thank you for all your help.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, there she is.
There she is. All righty. Well, that was Joanne Arnold, broadcast live from Deadwood, South Dakota. And like I said, great organization. Sacred Mountain Retreat, like I said, really good stuff up there.
It looks awesome.
When it gets a little bit roadworthy, JP, I think we need to fire up that. We're going to be putting some miles on in the next year with that RV. So,
we're going to have some pretty cool road trips.
And I will tell you, going up there, it is truly a very unique place. Great stuff. I like their mission. I like what they stand for. And the thing that really gets me, that I like what Jerred is going for, is you don't have to be a combat veteran necessarily per se to attend. I knew I had a first sergeant of mine many years ago who he dropped his retirement package way before 9/11. You know, he had Ranger tabs, airborne. I mean, he was full blown.
You Army guys are all about all that bling and things.
Bling thing. We like bling, you know. But you know what? He never served in a combat tour. Of no fault of his own, I'm sure he would have been an outstanding leader. It's just the timing wasn't there.
From 1975 to 1991, there weren't a lot of shooting wars.
No, and even 91, not everybody went. It was
not
over
everybody
too
went
quick.
to Panama.
Yeah.
Not everybody went to Grenada.
Yep.
And not everybody was in Beirut. And those were our three shooting wars in that period of time.
Yep. And
then there were some more civil actions in Haiti. We've been in Haiti multiple times. So it's I actually talked to, and I'll say this. So one of the things of people who served in that era,
right,
we do not rate a National Defense Medal, which I find odd. I was actually deployed. We went into Grenada. I was actually deployed when the bomb blast blew up our barracks in Beirut. And in fact, I lost my roommate there. Mm-hmm. And so I've got a little chip on my shoulder about that. Because one of the very first things I did when I arrived at flight school in Pensacola, Florida, is I was part of an officer's platoon as we buried a young pilot who was killed in a midair. Mm-hmm. And so I've always thought about that because it's an issue of pride.
right.
But I actually got to talk to our newest congressman from Texas, Pat Fallon, good friend of the show, good friend of ours, about making the Cold War Victory Medal an official medal instead of an unofficial medal, just for those purposes. I am not eligible to join the VFW, even though, like I said, I was deployed during Beirut. I was deployed during Grenada, And I was deployed during the invasion of Panama, but I don't write. And I'm like, meh.
Yep. And another fine example of, that point where being a combat veteran, it was not my choice to go over, but I followed orders and I did it.
Yep.
It's just how the turn events go. But we're getting ready to wrap up the
We
show.
are wrapping up.
Want to thank everyone for tuning in to today's show. A lot of fun, a lot of great knowledge bombs, a lot of great information, and of course, great host, Sacred Mountain Retreat up in Deadwood, South Dakota. So till next time, hoorah and oorah. We'll see you all then.
We are out.
Bye now.